Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout for the Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2018 March Hip Kits for this. And I'm going to start this layout with some cut files. My assignment for this Mixed Media Monday is to use mixed media and cut files. And so it's kind of hard to see, but I've already cut some flowers. This is one of the subscriber cut files for this month, and Kimberly, our owner, designed it, and there are some really pretty flowers and some stems with some leaves. And so I'm going to try a lot of things on this layout that do not turn out that great. I struggled with this layout. I don't even know why, but I had to cut a lot of it out because I had like 2 hours of footage, and that's just ridiculous. So I try to keep my videos under 15 minutes, and this one goes a little bit over. But I wanted to keep in some of the things that I tried that didn't necessarily work. So anyway, my first thought was I wanted to take some of the Vicky Bouton iridescent glitter glaze that we get in the color kit. It's like a light silver white glitter shimmer paste. It's so pretty. And I mixed in a little bit of a teal colored watercolor from her watercolor set to try to create a light mint color paste, and I just scraped it right over the stems of some of those flowers, and I let it dry, and you can see how shimmery and sparkly it is, and it's really pretty. And that's the cool thing about this shade of the iridescent glitter glaze is it's very light, so you can color it with any of those watercolors or any of your paints to tint it a different color. So that's kind of cool. So I'm going to peel off the rest of these flowers, and then I'm going to go through all the papers that I have in the main kit that also come in the paper kit and just back the flowers with some paper. And I had to cut out a whole section. I tried to create a pinkish orange mixed media sheet on some white cardstock with the watercolor, but it turned out way too bright. It just did not match with any of the colors in the papers, and I just finally said, you know what, I'm not going to use this, so I just chunked it, and I had to cut that out because, like I said, the video was just way too long. So here is something I know a lot of us do. If you have a cut file machine, or a die cutting machine, like a Silhouette or a Cricut, chances are you've backed a cut file. It's one of my favorite techniques to do. And I'm also going to use some of the Project Life cards. This is from the Project Life kit, and there's always exclusive cards each month. You get some 4x6 and some 3x4, and I just thought they were so pretty. And I don't do Project Life or Pocket Page layouts, so I use them for scrapbooking in whatever way I see fit. And so here I've got all these flowers backed, and I think they're so pretty, but they're just very one-dimensional. And so I want to make them look a little more realistic and add a little more depth. So I'm going to go back to the watercolors and just watch how easy this is to add some depth to these flowers. I'm just dabbing the brush into that paint and then adding a little bit of water and dabbing into this, basically not the center, but like the bottom of each of the petals, and just adding a little bit of color and then smushing it with my finger to blend it in, and you instantly get this flower that looks way more realistic. I mean, I know it's not realistic, but you see what I'm saying. It looks like it has more depth to it. And I think this is so easy to do. Anybody could do this. And I'm just, you know, some of it's getting on top of the white cardstock, but that's okay. I kind of wanted it to look messy. I love how this turned out. I think just by adding this little bit of watercolor to the middle of the flowers, it just instantly makes them pop. And you can see how the pink ones just look so flat, but when you add the color, look how different they look. And that did not take long at all. Anybody could do that. Super simple. So these are spring colors. Everything is very light and pretty. Reminds me of spring. I'm going to cut out some leaves from this Maggie Holmes crepe paper. This is from the Flourish collection. And so I like to have leaves. Not every single time I have flowers, but if I have leaves available, I'm going to cut some of those out. So I'm going to take some time and cut out some of those. And I think this is going to turn out really pretty. So I decided to go with this picture here, and I printed it kind of large. It's not quite 4x6, but it's of my little page sitting at the pool, and I like the light colors in it, but I also like the green in it. And I'm going to make this cardstock my background. This is Smooth Basil. I think it's called Turquoise Mist, and we get that in the color kit. And this took me forever. of course, you know me, I'm going to add some stuff to the background, and I'm going to start with white gesso here, and that's going to prime the background paper. It's going to toughen it up a little bit, give me a little bit of white space to work with, and it's going to allow me to add a lot of liquid to this paper, and it's not going to just rip and tear. So I'm going to start to play around with what I have so far. I know I want the flowers layered behind the photo, but I just don't like how this looks. I don't know. It's just too much. So I'm just going to keep playing with it, and I think this is what I struggled with. What takes me so long to get this page done is just something about it was not working for me. So I took it all off, and I'm going to start to work on my background. And again, I'm using the Vicki Boutin watercolors here, and there are, I can't even remember, I've already put them out of my sight, several different colors. I think 12. Am I right? I can't remember. I don't know where I put them. But anyway, so you get several of blue and green shades. And so I'm just mixing a blue and a green together to create a teal. And I'm going to add a little bit of yellow in. And using the packaging technique, I'm using my brush, adding lots of water. And like I said, the gesso helps with this. If you don't use gesso, then the liquid is going to just soak right into your paper, and you're not going to be able to blend it and smudge it as well. And so that is why I use the gesso. And I always have napkins close by because I like to dab some of it up, because sometimes if you let it dry naturally, it's going to dry a little bit darker. If you dab it up right away, it's going to be a little bit lighter. And it just depends on the product, and it depends on the color, depends on the look that you're going for. So I love these colors, but for some reason it just was not working for me. And something about these Vicki Boutin watercolors is the color on the label does not match the color inside the tube. So before you use those, make sure you do a little test swatch of each color so you know exactly what color, because the pink one, the label is like a red, and it is definitely not red. It is hot pink. So make sure you check out all the colors first. So I've added in a little bit of brown with this pink to make it more of a deeper pink color, and I like how that looked. It matched a lot better to the flowers that I've got going. I did pull out some shimmers. That is the Spritz Ruby, and we got that in a color kit several months ago. I love to mix and match, and so that's what I'm doing here with the shimmers, and just adding in a couple of different shades of pink. And I'm going to have my picture sit right on top of this color area here. That was Glorious Day, and I just keep adding, and I think I just get a little carried away, and I get a little overboard, and my paper was starting to wave a little bit, even with the gesso, because I was adding so much water, and I was just trying to get all the colors that I wanted on there. And you know, a lot of this is going to get covered up, and I say this a lot, you know, when you start to add your photo and all of your embellishments, it's going to get covered up some. So I wanted to add some white splatters, and the easiest way for me to do that is just to water down some white acrylic paint. And that's just a bottle of white acrylic paint from Walmart. It's nothing special, nothing expensive. Just water it down, stick your brush in it, and splatter it. Yeah, it works great. It doesn't take much paint. And if you want to add big splatters, just hold your brush up higher and squeeze the bristles with your fingers, and you'll get some big splatters. So that's all dry. I'm going to start to work on the photo and the embellishments. I'm going to add a little bit of tissue paper like I normally do behind the picture, and that's just regular tissue paper that you would use in a present or a gift. And I just like it because it creates a messy little subtle layer behind the picture. And I'm going to start to bring in all of the flowers again. And of course, they're never the same way twice. And I just feel like this is, I don't know, I don't like it. Why don't I like it? I have no idea. It's too many flowers. It's just too, I don't know. I'm talking with my hands here. You can't see me. But yeah, I keep messing with it, and I don't love it. It's pretty. The flowers are pretty. You can't go wrong with the flowers, but I don't know, just didn't like it. So I turned off the camera, took a break, came back, worked on it a little more, and thought I'll use less flowers or fewer flowers around the photo, and then scatter some at the top, the left, and the bottom. And I like that a lot better. Not as crowded around the picture, I think is what it was. So now I'm going to work with other embellishments. I've got some of the Pebbles die cuts over there. There's really, really pretty flower cluster die cuts. And then I went ahead and stuck down everything around the picture that I wanted. I didn't want it to move again. So I'm going to lightly stick things down so I know where they're going to go. And then now it's going to come in with the details and just start to place everything else in its spot. And here I go again, adding too much. I think it's just flower overload. So I don't want to go too crazy. And the way my photo is situated, you can see that she is sitting on the pool deck and she's not in the center of the photo. So I've got some extra space over on the left side of the picture that I can use to overlap the flowers on top of it. And I love to do that. I try to keep these things in mind when I'm taking my pictures. And I know that's crazy. We should just take the pictures and deal with it. But, you know, sometimes if you're a scrapbooker and you scrapbook a lot, you think about these things when you're taking your pictures. And so I try to, if I'm far away from her like this, then I can create that design in the picture to where I have some open space on one side. And so it's going to allow me to overlap. And you may not like to overlap things on top of your pictures, and that's perfectly fine. There's no right or wrong way to do that. That's just sometimes if it allows, I like to do it. And I don't do it every single time, but I do it frequently. I'm just adding in some thread here. This is just simple colored cotton thread from Walmart, the sewing section. I get asked that a lot. It's nothing special. It's nothing expensive. Just check your Walmart. They've got every color you would want. I'm tucking in some more flowers here. I'm going to trim off some excess there. And I sped this up. I've got a lot going on. Like I said, this took me forever to do. I had way too many minutes. My camera ran out of battery one day, and this took me over the course of 3 days. And I don't even know why. Some days I can get something done in one day, and sometimes it takes me forever. But yeah, so the more I'm working at it, the more I like it. I try to add in some of those pebbles or Jen Hadfield butterflies. I just felt like it got too busy. I thought they looked pretty, and I love how they looked on top of the colored cardstock. It totally changed the color since those butterflies are, you know, they're clear. But I don't know, it was just too much. The more I added, the more I felt like it was overkill. So I go through the Maggie Holmes stickers. I'm going to go through a couple of things here, and I do add in this little cluster of flowers. I just tuck it under right there. I felt like that was okay. Just so many things that I tried just didn't work. I don't know. I think it's because the photo or the layout itself is so light. Everything I added had black in it or dark color, and it just did not match. It didn't flow. I don't know. I was in one of those moods where the leaves, like on this Simple Stories stickers, the leaves did not match the leaves that I fussy cut. And I was like, no, that's too many greens. So I took that off. I don't know if it was just me being in a bad mood, or me just, I don't know. Do you ever get like that? Or just everything you try, just, it's so pretty. Everything is beautiful, but it's just not working that particular day on that particular layout. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to add in those little leaves that I fussy cut, and I like how that looks. I like the addition of that green color. So I'm going to stick with that as my leaf color. And then I decided to add in some of those One Canoe 2 gold rub-ons. These are really, really cool because they are gold. And let me tell you, they are really gold. I mean, super shiny, very gold. And once I added them in, I decided, guess what? I didn't like it because they look dark. And I know it's shiny gold, and you have to hold it in a light to see it shine. But when I look at the layout, I just felt like I just added something really dark. So here's a fix for that. And this actually turns out really cool. I got a little teeny tiny brush and some white gesso and just sort of muted out the shiny factor. And when the gesso dries, you can still see it. It's just less shiny. And it's almost like the consistency of gold color shine. So it's not as brassy. And so I thought that was great. And I was very happy with how that turned out. So here I decided to use some of those wood grain thickers as part of my title, but I didn't want to use them as brown. So here's an option for you to do. If you want to color these, add some gesso to them or some white acrylic paint. Use the watercolors and paint right over them. However, I didn't like how that looked either. So I dabbed it up, started over, added more gesso. Yeah, brown just was not cutting it. But I like how that looks. So I decided to make it white again, add some blue only to the bottom, And then I'm going to take the top half. What am I going to do with it? Am I going to do it now or am I going to wait? I fussy cut laughs from a 4x6 Project Life card. So my title's going to be Happy Laughs. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick my finger in that glaze, the glitter glaze, and just coat the top part of it with that. So it's going to look kind of textury. There I go again, using that word that's not a word. Textury and bumpy and slick and shimmery and sparkly, and it's really, really pretty. So that's an option for you to do something with that glitter glaze, because there's a lot of stuff that you can do with it. I'm going to add a little bit more pink thread over to the right, and then I did, like I said, I fussy cut laughs from their little tiles of rainbow colors, and I stuck them to a piece of cardstock so it'd be straight in a line. And then, yeah, my title is going to be Happy Laughs. And I added my journaling, and this layout was getting out of control long, and so I just added a couple of sentiment stickers and called it a day. There's the final layout. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about how it turned out. I do love the colors, and I love the flowers, but I guess I was just in one of those moods where I felt like I was struggling, but I think it turned out okay. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed the process. I wanted to keep everything in there as much as I could without this being a 45-minute video, because that's just too long. So let me know if you have any questions about any of the products, the kits, anything at all, and I'll be more than happy to answer. There you can see the shiny gold. It's still shiny, but not as shiny. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.